Welcome back, friends. Today we're making a Boston Sour. So the Boston Sour is, well, let me take a step back here. We are well into our cocktail journey, right? We started with martinis, we got into the classic martinis, we got into the neo martinis, we moved on from martinis into the classic old-fashioned cocktail, right? So the old-fashioned, the Toronto, the Sazerac, that type of formula. Now we're in these sours and daisies, right? So sours, we started off with the daiquiri, we went to the gimlet, we did the Hemingway daiquiri, and actually we did the whiskey sour, and today is the Boston sour. Now, the difference between the Boston sour and the whiskey sour is actually the Boston sour is what everybody thinks of when they think of a whiskey sour. It's the whiskey sour with egg white. No affiliation with the city of Boston. It's not that it was created in Boston. It's not that it had any sort of history of, there was a Boston bar that made it the first time. It was just the idea of, Boston, I guess, being a sophisticated town. So it lent a certain air of sophistication. Why would an air of sophistication, be needed for this cocktail? Well, unlike the original whiskey sour that it's about 200 years old, a little less than 200 years old. The whole point behind the Boston sour was to find a way to mask the quality of the alcohol. This is a Prohibition era cocktail, right? So the quality of the whiskey that was being used was not what we're used to, was not what was used to before. It's not what we're used to now. It was usually harsh. Mouthfeel wasn't right. It wasn't quite finished. It wasn't quite fully distilled. So they needed something that was going to mask that. Obviously, the simple syrup and fresh lemon juice was going to help with the taste, but to help with that mouthfeel, to make it a little bit more, I guess, easier to drink. It didn't have that, I guess, make it a little bit more viscous. They added egg white. And again, just to kind of spruce up the selling point, they called it the Boston Sour. And that's where we are today. Anything else I have to say about this? Hold on one second, guys. I was off my game earlier, having technical difficulties. Add egg whites, no ties to Boston. All right, so actually the one thing I wanted to say about this, said everything I wanted to say, but the one thing that was missing was this is going to require a technique known as the dry shake. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to mix in all of our ingredients first. We're going to shake it up, and then we're going to add the ice to it. I've been in a few cocktail bars where they actually remove the spring from the Hawthorne strainer. That's what this is called. So they remove the coil basically from the Hawthorne shaker. They add it into the shaker to just give something that's going to give a little bit more agitation in there. It's not needed. This is my first time making this with egg white, so we'll see how foamy I can get it. I hope we can get it really good, on foamy. But yeah, I think I've said everything I need to say. So we're going to start off by chilling our glass, and this time we're not going to add the ice to the shaker like we always do, at least not yet. All right, so we're adding the ice. Set it off to the side. All right. I'm going to start off by adding 4 parts of bourbon. I'm actually using 4 Roses right now. 4 Roses is solid, good price point, quality. You know what? Why am I struggling with this? All right, that's 4. Going to add 1.5 parts of our fresh lime juice, or lemon juice, excuse me. We're going to add 1 part of simple syrup. And last but not least, we are adding our egg white. All right. Now we'll go ahead and close this up. Shake for about 30 seconds. And here we go. Now you can see it's actually getting really foamy, so I think we got a good job on that. I think it actually is working the way it's supposed to. Oh, that's a nice rich foam. So yeah, now we'll go ahead and add the ice to chill and shake it again. And you can tell it's nice and chilled. We got the frosted shaker. And let me keep it in the tin. All right. So we'll add the strainer. Drain this out real quick, excuse me. And the garnish, let's see if I can actually get this right. I'm going to add 3 drops of aromatic bitters right to the foam. And we're going to run a pick through it, and I'm going to hopefully show it to you guys. So let's see if I can get this to work. Maybe not. Let's see. My hearts could work. It could be a little bit better. I'm going to bring it over here to the camera. Yeah, no. You can kind of see them. Either way. Little streaks of... Probably works better if I have a dropper, so I can control the actual drop, because I don't want to add a full dash of bitters to this. But either way, guys, this is the Boston Sour. Cheers. Yeah, that's amazing. So, mouth feels a little richer than the, and I hate using that word, but that's the only way to describe this. A little richer than the regular whiskey sour is. Goes a little bit smoother. Taste-wise, to me, not very different. And actually, it's a little bit less. The whiskey sour is equal parts of lemon juice and simple syrup, while this one actually is 1.5 parts of lemon juice to 1 part simple syrup. So maybe it would be sweeter, but I don't know if maybe extra simple syrup would change the consistency. I don't know if it would make it more. I mean, we beat the egg whites for 30 seconds in a shaker, and that's not enough to make meringue. But I don't know if that's the fear of why they do it with a little bit less. To me, it's not noticeable. It's not something where it's like, okay, this is a significant difference from the sour to the Boston Sour. But that's good. There's a reason why the classics are the classics. I keep saying it. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. I know a lot of people are afraid of the egg whites. I know someone who actually says that she used to love the whiskey sour until one day she was drinking the whiskey sour, and I don't know, somebody told her, whatever it was, she asked, is there eggs in this? And when they said yes, she could never drink it again because it tasted funny to her. You don't taste it. I will say it right now, you don't. I've had So I've never tried the egg white substitute. There is a foaming agent that they sell for restaurant and bar supplies that is like I said, it's an egg white substitute that you're supposed to use a tablespoon of per drink. I've never tried it. I've never been in a place that tells you that they're using that. So maybe I have tried it. I've never known. I have tried aquafaba, which is the it's bean juice, basically. It's the liquid inside of a can of garbanzo beans or chickpeas. Obviously not the prepared kinds, the kind that are just basically cooked and in water. That liquid, they will use that as an egg white substitute in cocktails. They call it aquafaba bean juice, and or bean water, I guess I should say. Same thing. I've had it. I've never tasted it. Like, you don't know unless somebody tells you, oh yeah, this is, and even then it's one of these things where it's like somebody tells you, yeah, this is aquafaba instead of egg whites, or just like this is egg whites. You're not gonna be like, oh yeah, I could taste something, but I didn't know what it was. No, you're not gonna taste anything. Just like I said, I've never had a cocktail with aquafaba that tasted like anything. Just like I've never had a egg white cocktail where it made a difference. That I'm like, oh yeah, you could tell with the foam, but you can't taste it. But anyways, that's enough about that soapbox of egg whites versus aquafaba. Or if you're afraid of it, just say no. I had a whiskey sour at a bar in so it was a bar in Washington, D.C. that I'm trying to remember the name off the top of my head. I can't remember, so I'll add it in the comments later. But basically, they have floor-to-ceiling shelves of different kinds of whiskey. They have a binder. It is overwhelming to see how many options of whiskey that they have there. And I was there. I had like one or two whiskeys, and then afterwards, I'm like, you know what? I'm feeling like a cocktail, as you guys know. You guys know me by now. I enjoy a good cocktail, so I was like, all right, what do you got? And I asked the bartender, what do you hate making? And he actually said the whiskey sour. And I was like, oh, okay, good to know. I'm not going to ask for that now. And I basically said, hey, you make something. And he actually made me a whiskey sour. I was like, listen, you didn't have to. You told me you didn't, you don't like making it. And he's like, yeah, it's not anything about, it's a hassle. It's not that I don't like making it in any sense. He just said that he doesn't like making it. And like I said, he didn't get into why he didn't like making it. I didn't ask him for it. So I felt better about that. But it was delicious. And like I said, this is a classic. This is something where easy to drink. It's refreshing. It's satisfying. It ticks off all the boxes. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. It's like, there's a reason why it's a classic. There's a reason why the classics are classics. There's a reason why people emulate it. Next on the hit parade actually is going to be the New York Sour. New York Sour actually also takes egg whites, and I was not aware of that. You can't tell. So I don't know if it's typically supposed to, in most places, just, forego the egg whites, but I'm going to make it because, again, the classic specs call for it to be with egg whites. I'm not going to get into what the New York Sour is until next episode. So, guys, like and subscribe. I hope you're enjoying the content. Comment down below if you've tried it. If you don't like egg whites, if it bothers you for some reason, if you tried it with the aquafaba and you feel it just doesn't work. I've never tried it from a making standpoint. I've tried it from tasting it. I've never tried using it. So maybe in bars it works better because they prepare it. They do some sort of pre-agitation. But when you whip it yourself, it takes a lot of agitation to get it to get so foamy. Like I said, I don't know. I've never tried it. I can't tell you. But I do know egg whites work. So if you have a reason not to, then maybe you need to explore it. And like I said, comment down below. We'll talk about it. Love hearing from you guys. That's all I got. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this off screen. And you guys have a great night. Cheers.